Never Split the Difference by Chris. Chapter 2, Be a Mirror. A deep dive masterclass with mock dialogues you can practice for selling to banks and for everyday life. Welcome back. Chapter 1 gave you the mindset. Negotiation is emotional before it is logical, and your job is to see the other side's hidden want. Chapter 2 hands you the first real tools, the listening tools, the actual moves you make with your voice and your words to get people to trust you, open up, and reveal what they're really thinking. We'll cover 4 things: going in with hypotheses instead of assumptions, slowing everything down, the 3 tones of voice, and the deceptively simple technique of mirroring. And as always, we'll rehearse each one inside a bank pitch and then in your everyday life. Let's begin. The chapter opens with, on his first big case, a bank robbery with hostages in Brooklyn, and the lesson is brutal and immediate. Everything the FBI assumed going in was wrong. They were told the robbers wanted to surrender. False. They assumed a whole gang was inside. There were 2 men, and one of them hadn't even known he was robbing a bank. The command post walked in expecting a 10-minute surrender and got a day-long siege. Why? Because they treated their assumptions as facts. That's the first lesson, and it's the foundation of everything. Assumptions blind you, hypotheses guide you. A good negotiator prepares for surprises. A great negotiator goes in certain that surprises exist and uses the conversation to hunt for them. So you hold several possibilities in your mind at once, and you let each new piece of information confirm or kill each one. Says something that should stick with you. Really smart people often make bad negotiators because they're so smart they think they have nothing left to discover. Put that in your world. A bank goes quiet on you after a strong meeting, 2 weeks of silence. The amateur founder fills that silence with a story. They hated the price we lost, it's over, and starts discounting in a panic follow-up email. That's an assumption masquerading as fact. The professional holds 3 hypotheses at once. 1, the champion is busy and the deal is fine. 2, it's stalled on a security concern nobody voiced. 3, there's an internal politics problem you can't see. And instead of guessing, you go find out. You send a calm note. I'm guessing this dropped down the priority list and something more urgent took over. Notice you're not begging, you're floating a hypothesis and letting them correct you. 9 times out of 10 they'll tell you the real reason, and now you're negotiating with facts instead of fear. The same discipline saves you at home. Your spouse is short with you at dinner. The assumption is, they're angry at me. The hypothesis is, something happened today and I don't yet know what. One starts a fight, the other starts a conversation. The second lesson is about listening, and it's more radical than it sounds. Says most people can't actually listen in a negotiation because their own head is too loud. While the other person talks, you're rehearsing your next line, defending your position, arguing in your own mind. He calls it a kind of schizophrenia, 2 people talking, but really 4 voices in the room, everyone half listening to the person in front of them and half listening to the argument in their own head. And here's the fix, the discovery that reorganizes everything. Quiet the voice in your head by making the other person your sole, total focus. Not your rebuttal, not your pitch. Them. When you do that, something almost magical happens. The voice in their head quiets down too, because they finally feel heard and they begin to trust you. This is the single biggest mistake founders make in a bank meeting. You walk in with 40 slides and a script running in your head, and you spend the whole meeting waiting for your turn to talk. You leave having learned nothing. Flip it. Walk in having decided that your only job in the first meeting is to understand their world so completely that they feel it. Ask, and then actually listen, with nothing running in your head but curiosity about their answer. The head of payments will tell you, if you let them, exactly what keeps them up at night, and that is worth more than any slide you prepared. The third lesson is a discipline: slow it down. Going too fast is the mistake every negotiator makes. When you rush, people feel unheard, and the trust you've built quietly evaporates. Time is one of your most powerful tools. Puts it memorably, if someone is talking, they're not shooting. Now, selling to a bank is a masterclass in patience, whether you like it or not. Their cycles are long, their committees are slow. Most founders experience that as agony and try to force the pace, pushing for the close, chasing signatures, and every push makes the bank feel handled and pull back. Reframe it. The long cycle is not the enemy, it's the arena where trust gets built. As long as the conversation is alive, the deal is alive. Your job is not to speed it up, it's to keep it moving and keep them talking. And this is just as true in a heated moment at home. When your partner is escalating, the instinct is to resolve it fast, fix it, end the discomfort. Slow down instead, let them talk it all the way out. The calm you bring is contagious. The fourth lesson is the one people underestimate the most. It's not just what you say, it's how you say it, and means your literal tone of voice. Your brain reads other people's emotions automatically, a kind of involuntary telepathy, and your voice is the fastest way to reach in and flip an emotional switch, from distrust to trust, from anxious to calm. There are 3 tones. The first is the assertive or direct voice, and you should almost never use it. It signals dominance and invites people to push back. The second, and this should be your default, is the positive, playful voice, the voice of an easygoing, good-natured person, and the trick is to actually smile while you talk. A smile changes your tone, and the other person hears it, even on the phone. Tells the story of a colleague in a Turkish spice market, baffled that his girlfriend kept getting better prices than he did, until he realized. She treated every haggle as a fun game, smiling and playful, and her warmth disarmed the merchants into better deals. And the third tone is the famous one, the late-night FM DJ voice, slow, calm, low, with a downward inflection at the end of your sentences. A downward inflection says, "This is settled, I've got this." An upward inflection turns a statement into a question and invites a challenge. Let me show you the DJ voice in your world, because it's perfect for the non-negotiable. Imagine you're in a contract negotiation and the bank's legal team tries to slip in a clause that makes them own your intellectual property. You don't argue, you don't get loud, you don't over-explain. Calm, low, downward, we don't transfer ownership of our platform, full stop. No alternative offered, because offering one invites debate. Just a quiet, friendly, settled statement of fact. That downward calm communicates authority far better than any argument. And you use the playful voice everywhere else, in discovery, in the small talk, in the follow-up, because a bank buyer who enjoys talking to you tells you more and roots for you inside their own organization. At home, the DJ voice is how you handle a 2 a.m. moment with a frightened child, slow and low and certain. You're safe, I'm right here. The tone does the work, not the words. Now the centerpiece of this chapter, the technique half-jokingly calls a Jedi mind trick, mirroring. It could not be simpler. A mirror is when you repeat back the last 1 to 3 words the other person just said. That's it. It works because of a deep human wiring. We fear what's different, and we trust what feels similar, and a mirror quietly signals, I'm like you, we're in sync. When you mirror someone, they almost can't help it. They elaborate, they rephrase, they keep talking, and they reveal more than they meant to. Cites a study of waiters. The ones who simply repeated a customer's order back to them, word for word, earned 70% more in tips than the waiters who said great and no problem. 70% for repeating a few words. But there is one rule that makes or breaks it, and most people get it wrong. After you mirror, you must shut up. The mirror needs silence to do its work. If you mirror and then keep talking, you've killed it. Let me put you inside a bank meeting with this. You're across from a procurement officer and they say, honestly, the security requirements here are just more than a vendor your size can realistically meet. Do not defend yourself. Do not list your certifications. You mirror the emotional core of what they said with a curious, slightly upward tone, more than a vendor our size can meet, and then you go silent. Watch what happens. They fill the silence, and as they do, they get specific. Well, what I mean is, last time we used a small vendor, they couldn't handle our transaction volumes at peak, and it was a nightmare. There it is. They just handed you the real fear, the actual objection hiding under the generic one, and you got it not by arguing, but by repeating 4 words and staying quiet. Now you can address the thing that actually matters. Let's rehearse it again, because this one deserves repetition. The head of digital says, we're going to need to think carefully about the timeline before we commit to anything. Amateur move, okay, when should I follow up? You've learned nothing and given them an easy exit. Mirror instead, think carefully about the timeline, silence. And they open up, yeah, because our core banking migration is happening in Q3 and we can't have 2 big projects colliding. Now you understand the real constraint and you can position around it. Every mirror is a small key that opens the next locked door, and it costs you nothing but the discipline to stay quiet. Mirroring is just as powerful outside of work. Tells the story of a woman whose boss was famous for what she called drive-bys, popping into her office with sudden, half-baked, urgent demands. One day he barged in and said, "Make 2 copies of all of it." Instead of arguing that it was a waste of time, which had always triggered him, she just mirrored, calm and curious, "I'm sorry, 2 copies." He paused and started explaining himself and reasoning it through out loud, and by the end of the conversation he had talked himself out of the whole unnecessary task. A week of pointless work avoided with 2 mirrored words and some silence. You can do this with your boss tomorrow. When they hand you an unreasonable deadline, don't push back. Mirror this by Thursday and wait. Half the time they'll reconsider it themselves. You can do it with a car salesman. This is the best you can do. And let the silence pull the price down. You can do it with a teenager who mutters that everyone else is allowed to go, everyone else is allowed, and watch the real story come out. And you can do it with your spouse when they say they're fine in a tone that clearly means they are not. You're fine, gently, and then quiet, and you've opened a door that fine had slammed shut. Now let me give you a 4-step method for the hardest situation of all, when you need to push back on someone powerful and stubborn, a hardball procurement head, a domineering boss without triggering a fight. He calls it disagreeing without being disagreeable, and it's just 4 moves. 1. Use the late-night DJ voice, calm and low. 2. Start with the words, "I'm sorry." 3. Mirror what they said. 4. Go silent and let it sit for at least 4 seconds. Then repeat as needed. Let me play it out with a procurement head who's steamrolling you. They say, "This is our standard contract. Everyone signs it, take it or leave it." You calm and low, "I'm sorry, everyone signs it exactly as is." Silence. And they soften just slightly. Well, the bigger vendors sometimes redline a few things. And there's your opening delivered by them, not extracted by you. Same tool with a boss dumping a 4th project on your desk. "I'm sorry, you want all 4 delivered by Friday." Silence. And watch them start to prioritize on their own. You never argued, you never said no. You made them hear their own demand and reconsider it. Let me gather the common mistakes so you can avoid them. 1, and it's the big one, talking after your mirror. The mirror only works in silence. Say it, then bite your tongue. 2, going too fast, rushing the bank, rushing your spouse, forcing a close when patience was the winning move. 3, reaching for the assertive, dominant voice when the calm DJ voice or the playful voice would have disarmed them. 4, treating your assumptions as facts instead of hypotheses to test. And 5, asking "What do you mean by that?" which sounds like a challenge and makes people defensive, when a simple mirror would have gotten you the same information while making them feel respected. Here is your drill for the week, and again, run it in business and at home. First, mirror 3 times in a single real conversation. Just repeat the last few words, then shut up, and watch how much more the other person tells you. Second, catch yourself rushing and deliberately slow one negotiation down, let the silence sit. Third, pick one non-negotiable and deliver it once in the calm, downward DJ voice, no argument attached. Do these, and you'll feel people start to open up to you in a way they didn't before. That's Chapter 2. You now have the listening toolkit. Hold hypotheses, not assumptions. Make the other person your total focus. Slow it down, choose your tone on purpose, and mirror to unlock what people are really thinking. In the next chapter, don't feel their pain, label it, goes deeper into tactical empathy. You'll learn labeling, naming the other person's emotion out loud to defuse it, and a powerful move called the accusation audit, where you say all the bad things they might be thinking about you before they do. It's the fastest way to disarm a suspicious buyer, and I'll show you exactly how to use it on a wary bank. Practice your mirrors before then, and I'll see you in Chapter 3.